I am not sure if it's live on Instagram, so let me just double check that. Great technical issues again on a Monday morning. Instagram. I don't think it's live, but we'll see. We'll go. Otherwise, I'll just be sat playing around trying to get the computers and everything to work, all the tech to work. So find your comfortable standing position. Now remember last Monday, if you joined the session last Monday, we were working on the feet. And we were working on the feet from the breath point of view because of that, the fascia running horizontally across the body. So now think also where fascia runs horizontally, the knees and the pelvic floor. So we're going to bring a little bit of focus down to the knees and the pelvic floor. We've done it before when we've been doing sort of like the big spinal cord breathing, but I want to isolate it a little bit this morning. So let's just do a little bit of knocking first just to get that spine energized, warmed up. And remember, make sure you feel you've got plenty of base of support with this. If we're too close on the feet, then everything starts to feel sort of like trapped here in the hips and the waist. So just make sure you're about shoulder width apart. And bring the focus down to the feet, so we know we have the feet connected to the ground. And breathing easy in and out through the nose. Just bring your awareness now coming up to your knees. So there's that little bit of softness in the knees. And if you think about the knee joint, it's not just a hinge. Keep knocking. I'm just going to stop and just going to demonstrate a little bit, but you just keep doing this knocking rotational movement. So we often think of the knee as just a hinge. So it's just hinging like this, and that you're just getting that hinge joint of the knee. But we've got also, when you think about the bones, the tibia into the connection into the knee, there's also that little bit of rotation. And this is often where if we have problems with the knees, we haven't got that sort of like flexibility in the rotation. So if you think about just having that softness in the knee, feel how the knees are rotating there. Now, obviously, if you've got any pain, if you've got any knee problems, or if you've got obviously any issues where anything hurts, as I always say, stop. This is not about forcing. But notice how those knees rotate in the joints. So we're not just locking the knees out, just feel that little bit of rotation. I'm just looking on Zoom. I think Julie and Christine are in Turkey. Lucky, lucky, lucky. Hello, Turkey. It's most probably lunchtime there, isn't it, by now? So just think of oiling the joints, oiling the knee joints. And then coming up to the hips. So the same things going on in the hips. You've got that big bone, the top of the femur. Again, I keep going back and stopping there just to show you top of the femur coming into that hip joint. So just feel that movement, that rotation in the hip joint. So we want that little bit of give, a little bit of softness. And as always, just lengthening up through the spine. So keep that spine nice and long. And then gradually slow it down into water waves. Take your time. And again, just bring that focus to the spiral, through the ankles, through the knees, through the hips. And take a rest. Have a little walk around if you need a walk around, shake out the legs. And then we're going to bring our focus now to the pelvic floor. So key in terms of breath, because if we're thinking when we breathe in, that diaphragm flattens down a little bit, so the lungs expand, the diaphragm flattens down. It creates what we call intra-abdominal pressure in the abdomen area. And then the pelvic floor, which is a group of muscles which are all the way around 360 around in the pelvis area, lengthen under that load of the inter-abdominal pressure. Now, a lot of the time, we just tend to have all of these pelvic floor muscles tight and holding everything here. And it's a really difficult one because if we go to lift something, you can very obviously feel your muscles working. We don't really want to be forcing anything or creating any trying to create physical movement down here, because we just end up overdoing things. And it's not as obvious, there's not as many sensory nerves that we can feel in the diaphragm and the pelvic floor. But there's some nice movements that we can do just to really focus on those pelvic floor muscles. Now I've been working, I know the Zoom guys, Alice has been doing some of the sessions while I've been traveling. She does some great stuff because she teaches Pilates and she's been doing some other workshops for me. So she's done a lot of focus on this pelvic floor work. So we're just going to do, I'm going to turn to the side and we're going to bend our knees. So we need that little bit of bend in the knees. And we're just going to tilt the pelvis forwards and backwards. So you're just tucking the pelvis under, so you're tucking the tailbone under, and then you're spilling out the front of the pelvis. And we want to really just isolate that movement. So just get that movement working first, and then we'll coordinate the breath with it. Just find that movement. So we soften the knees, feet connected with the ground, tall spine, and we're just going to get that movement in the pelvis. So it's like you're bringing your pubic bone up towards your belly button, so you're getting that tilt. Really just working the pelvis. And get it smooth as well. Remember, we don't want to be any jarring movements or sticky movements. And now we're going to breathe with that movement. So what we're going to do is, as we spill out of the front of the pelvis, we're going to breathe in. And then as we tuck the tailbone back, we're going to breathe out. And as always, this is really light and soft and easy and in and out through the nose. So breathing in and breathing out. Not big breaths, not over breathing. And then just go with your breath like we do with any of the Qigong flows. Just go with the breath, breathing in, breathing out, squeezing the glutes a little bit, not too tight. So we're not doing loads of tension or tightening. We need to have that little bit of softness in the knee. We need that little bend in the knee. Just going with the breath, just following the breath, breathing in. Let's do two more. Just two more of your own breaths. And then take a rest when you've done that, standing tall and just having a little bit of a shake out. And the other one we're going to do, again, just for the pelvis and the pelvic floor, is we're just going to do a little hip hitch. So I'm going to mirror you. We're going to balance on our right leg. we're just going to lift our left leg or lift our left hip and then just pop that down. And the idea is I'm not just swinging side to side. I'm not doing this. I'm deliberately keeping as tall as possible there and then just lifting that hip. So we get that movement through the pelvis. So just step and lift. So it's just a bit like walking on the spot, really. And let's just explore breathing out as you lift and breathing in just as you step down. And again, the breath is just light, soft in and out through the nose. So we're just getting some movement of the muscles within that pelvic girdle. We often think about the glutes and all of those external muscles when we're doing work like this, if we're focusing on movement, etc. But just think about all of those muscles in the pelvic floor area, deep down, deep internal muscles. And then maybe switch the breath round. So we're breathing in as we lift and out as we step down. Tiny movements, not a big movement. We're not doing a big exercise. There was a little crack through my knee or something. Couple more each side. And then have a little bit of a shake out. Let's go back to that little bit of bend in the knees. We'll get that pelvis moving, tilting forwards and backwards. And then we'll just bring in the upper body. So we'll do our spinal cord breathing. So here we're breathing in. And then we're breathing out. Just following the breath. So we're just connecting that movement through the pelvis, that tilt in the pelvic floor, with that upper spine, the chest, diaphragm, cranium, sacrum. Breathing light and soft. In and out through the nose. Let's do a couple more like this. I think we've lost Turkey on Zoom. We've lost the connection. And take a rest. Have a little shake out, have a little move around as usual. It's just quite nice to break down some of these exercises that we just do, or some of these movements that we just do as a warm-up, and just break them down and realize the benefits of what we're doing with them. So we're going to go back to spinal cord, and like we'll do that rotation to one side and then breathing it out. But what I want to really make sure that we do is when you rotate to one side, we don't just do the upper body, because it's very easy just to go, oh, I'll just do my upper body here. So we rotate to one side, and then you're going to get that pelvis moving. So let's just go to the pelvis first. You can pop your hands on it if that's easier. But so you rotated, so think what's happening in the knees and in the feet. We got that little bit of twist, and then we're just going to tilt the pelvis forwards and tuck the pelvis underneath, but we've got that rotation. So keep rotated there. And again, make sure you're not pushing anything or forcing anything. It's only a little bit of rotation. You're not completely twisted around. So just get that movement in the pelvis. Can you tuck the pelvis underneath? Can you tilt the pelvis? So we put in that torque, if you like, through the knees, the ankles. We're getting that nice little twist, but without over twisting, if that's the right word, over twisting. Without overloading, that's what I'm thinking of. So just tilting the pelvis. Can you tuck the pelvis under? Can you tilt the pelvis back? That little bit of rotation. And then breathing. Remember to breathe. So we're breathing in as we spill out the front. We're breathing out as we tuck that pelvis back under. Do a couple more this side, tilting, really isolating the pelvis as well. And then rotate back to the center, have a little shake out. So feet are shoulder width apart, you're facing forwards with the feet, we're bending the knees, we're rotating. So feet are still facing forwards, we're rotating. We're not going all the way around. We're most probably going about, 45 degrees or something like that. And then we're tilting, pelvis, tilting back, tilting forwards. And you might find one side easier than the other. Watch what it's doing to the feet as well. If it feels as if it's squeezing the feet or twisting the ankles, make sure you've got your feet connected to the ground. Spread the toes out a little bit. Watch the knee that it's not pulling in or anything. So make sure you've got all of that air, all of the sort of like that the leg, not the lower leg, the whole leg in a good position, because it's really good just to get all of that fascia, all of that spiral chain working. And then just tilting, tucking the pelvis underneath. The other thing just to check into, and I'm doing this as I'm talking to you, is just make sure you're not shifting the weight just on one side. So you sort of like evenly balanced weight distribution. You might sort of like favor your strongest leg. So if you're more supportive and stronger on one side, you might want to shift all the weight to the strongest leg. So see if you can make sure you've got that weight evenly balanced. And isolating that pelvis. Couple more, just tilting. And then come back to the center and have a little shake out again. And then we'll combine that with that upper body. So when we're doing spinal cord, so feet shoulder width apart, you're facing forwards, and then we're going to rotate, breathing in, tilting that pelvis so you're spilling out the front, breathing out, tucking that pelvis underneath, opening the chest. As I say, you're most probably about 45 degrees. It's not about forcing anything, as I always say. I know I keep banging on about that, but it's not about forcing. And if you have any pain, of course, you stop. Following your breath. And then take a rest, standing tall. And we'll do the other side. So a little bit of softness in the knees, rotate. Remember, we can get that pelvis moving, and then breathing in and breathing out. Maybe a couple more this side. And then back to the center and have a shake out. So you might find that one side just feels much more flow than the other. You might feel little blockages, little tightnesses, tightened in sort of like lower back, maybe in the knee, maybe in the ankle. And you know, those are the little bits that you can work on in just getting that little bit more mobility in those areas without forcing it. Let's stay standing and go feet shoulder width apart on the feet. And we're just going to bring our hands now onto the ribs. So you've got your hands on those lower ribs, and you've got your thumbs in the back of the ribs. We're going to keep our spine long. So you might just want to give a little nod of the head, just tuck the chin to the chest, and then get that head balanced on top of the spine, relaxing the shoulders down. Watch that we're not forcing this chest out. So if we're on the lower ribs, watch that we're not like doing a military stance. We want to make sure these lower ribs stay in the body. So bring those lower ribs in the body. You then have to work a little bit more about lengthening the back of the neck and the spine. And I just want you to feel the breath as we breathe into those ribs. So as you breathe in, feel as if you're pushing your hands out to the side. And as you breathe out, if you want to, you can squeeze, you can do a little bit of squeeze, you can breathe, bring those ribs back into the body or into the side there. And here, let's just take slightly fuller, longer breaths. So just so we can exaggerate that movement a little bit. So just slowing the breath, taking slightly fuller, longer breaths. Just think when we do something like soaring crane. Get that sense of ease and flow as you're breathing into the ribs. See if you can get the breath into the thumbs as well, into the back of the ribs. If you're positioned like this, you're not going to feel any breath in the back. If you've got your rib cage in the right place, balanced nicely over the pelvic floor, even if you feel a little bit rounded here, because then we want to think about lengthening here separately rather than just lifting here and bringing the ribs out. So keep those ribs in, long spine, breathe into the back. Simple, this breathing lark, isn't it? When we talk about breathing biomechanics, we just think, oh yeah, diaphragm, but just think about all of these different things that we've played around with today, different positions, working on the feet, working on the knees, working on the hips. Couple more nice full breaths. Breathing into the back. And then we're just going to come down to the center. So there's your navel, your belly button. A couple of fingers down from the belly button. Gentle bit of pressure. Gentle bit of pressure. You can just put a little bit of pressure into those lower abdominal muscles. And then again, just slightly fuller, slower breathing. And breathe in to your center, into that lower dantian. So as you're breathing in, you feel that intra-abdominal pressure pushing the fingers out. So here we're really breathing deep. This is a true deep breath. Deep breathing doesn't have to be big volume breathing. Breathing deep into the center. Have a little walk around as you're doing this as well, because it's quite nice. It's easy just to stand and feel it, but walk around just slowly and just see if you can feel how that area responds, A, to movement, of course, and to the breath. Good, and take a rest. Yeah, it's all well and good just to sit and breathe, which is perfect, which is great, obviously, in a lot of the breath work that we do. But remember, we're breathing as we're moving, and we just want to bring awareness to that. Not all of the time, because we don't want to be thinking about every single breath that we take, but just noticing little things like what affects our breathing and how our breathing affects our movement. Excellent. Let's just do a couple of pulling downs. What time is it? Oh, it's 30. Let's just do one pulling down and just give yourself a little bit of bamboo in the wind just for 30 seconds. Just to balance everything off. So just closing your eyes. Let in your body rock and sway a little bit. Letting the breath settle. Good, and then taking a calm breath in, opening your eyes, stepping out, having a little bit of a shake off. Good, we broke down the biomechanics a little bit more today, but I think it's quite nice to do that once in a while. So when we're doing all of this as a warm-up, you can have in mind what we're doing with pelvic floor, diaphragm, etc. Couple of weeks time, not this weekend, but the following weekend, I think it's the 15th and 16th, I'm at the Health Optimization Summit in London. So if anybody's going to that or interested in that, let me know. We'll be promoting a retreat. But the other exciting thing we are doing there, Andrew's going to be there, Elaine is going to be there as well with me. Actually, Patrick is there as well. We've got stands next to each other. So we've got Oxygen Advantage stand, and then we've got AIM stand selling our Oxygen Advantage courses and Costa Brava, etc. But the one thing that I'm going to be doing at the Health Optimization Summit is offering a scholarship. It's only available at the main moment at the Health Optimization Summit, but that's a scholarship for someone to do the Oxygen Advantage instructor training. So if you know anybody who's going, or if you're interested in doing the scholarship and you want to come and apply, then you can jump in and get there to the Health Optimization Summit. But I'll give you more information about that as we get closer to the time. Thanks for joining today. Looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday. Enjoy your day in Turkey or wherever you are around the world. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.